that I haven't really spoken about publicly. The other part with Oprah Winfrey is, yeah, you let me get thrown under the bus and you said nothing. The other part is you mess with my family.
One man walked away from $50 million, not because he was broke, not because he was lost, but because he said something didn't feel right. And for years, people laughed at him.
I've never been near a puff party. Never been near it. And anybody who knows me knows if there is a party, I'm the first one out.
They called him paranoid. They said he lost his mind. But now, with names like Jeffrey Epstein, Harvey Weinstein, and Sean Diddy Combs dominating headlines, people are starting to rewind the tape.
So when you're a guy that generates money,
Yeah.
people have a vested interest in control.
And suddenly, what Dave Chappelle said years ago doesn't sound so crazy anymore. Because here's the question nobody wanted to ask back then. Why did Dave walk away at the peak of his career? And more importantly, who made him feel like he had to?
Was, needless to say, devastated and really shaken to my core when I first heard this news. And I spoke to all the girls personally, and I encouraged all of them, any of them who had actually been harmed, to please.
Because somewhere in that story, another name keeps appearing. Not accused, not charged, but always nearby. Oprah Winfrey. Now listen carefully, because this isn't about proving guilt. This is about patterns, connections, and the uncomfortable questions that come with them. Dave Chappelle didn't just disappear one day. Before everything changed, he was on top of the world.
Increasingly paranoid. Would you say you were paranoid?
Sure. First of all, what is a black man without his paranoia attached? You might win $100 in a poker game and be on the subway. You're going to look over your shoulder. They just said in everything I had $50 million. That's like making me a marked man.
Chappelle's show wasn't just popular, it was culture. People quoted it everywhere. It was bold, raw, and honest in a way that made powerful people uncomfortable.
So did you go to a psychiatric hospital?
In South Africa?
Yeah.
Who? I'm insane. They were trying to get me to take psychotic medication.
Yeah.
I said, I'm not taking this medicine, man, because I know these people be trying to control you or maybe discredit you.
And that's exactly what made it dangerous. He signed a $50 million deal with Comedy Central. That kind of money changes lives. It locks people in. But Dave didn't stay. He walked. At first, nobody understood it. Why would someone give up that much money? Why would someone disappear to South Africa in the middle of success? The media quickly filled in the blanks for him. They said he was unstable. They said he cracked under pressure. They said he couldn't handle fame.
They have to do something if they spy on some of us. I mean, who has anything to hide?
But Dave told a different story. He said something didn't feel right behind the scenes. He talked about how the industry tries to control narratives, how it shapes people, how it decides who gets elevated and who gets torn down. And then came that moment, the interview. Oprah invited Dave onto her show. It looked like a safe space, a place for understanding. But if you watch closely, something feels off.
So Tyler Perry says to me, listen, you may really want to consider promoting this film, because if you get nominated for an Oscar award, your next film is $3 to $5 million. And if you win it, your next film is $6 to $8 million. I said, Tyler, who are you talking to? I'm a black woman. Where do they pay those type of salaries, brother? I said, what I cannot do, Tyler, is work for free.
Dave tries to explain his perspective. He talks about pressure, control, and why he left. But the conversation keeps shifting, keeps circling back to one word: paranoia. And that's when people started noticing something, not just in Dave's interview, but in others too.
She never said my mother. She never said my father. Now, I know who my parents were because they're both gone.
Because Dave wasn't the only one who walked into that space and walked out feeling misunderstood. Over the years, several celebrities have hinted at similar experiences. Monique, Ludacris, 50 Cent. Different stories, different moments, but a similar feeling, like the narrative wasn't entirely in their control.
I know who they are. I know my mother's greed. I know my father's greed. And you did not say that you were going to have my parents. Because had you said you had my mother.
Now here's where things get complicated. And this is where we have to be careful, because a lot of what follows lives in the space between fact and speculation. Oprah has been one of the most powerful figures in media for decades. That's not a conspiracy, that's reality. Her platform has shaped careers, changed public opinion, influenced millions.
She was able to say what she said, and then I had my rebuttal. And when I saw the final show, her comments were in there.
Right, was in there, but yours wasn't in there.
And mine weren't in there, so it just looked like I kind of took it.
But with that kind of power comes proximity. Proximity to influence, proximity to people, and sometimes proximity to controversy. Photos exist of Oprah with Harvey Weinstein at industry events. At the time, it meant nothing. They were both powerful figures in Hollywood. But after Weinstein's conviction, people started looking back differently. The same thing happened with Jeffrey Epstein. There's no proof Oprah was involved in his crimes, none. But people began connecting dots, business associates, social circles, overlapping networks.
If we make this just about Harvey Weinstein, then we will have lost this moment.
And then there's Sean Diddy Combs, whose recent legal troubles have brought even more attention to the industry's inner circles. Now, pause right here. None of this proves wrongdoing, but what it does create is a pattern of proximity that makes people ask questions. And that's exactly what Dave Chappelle hinted at.
Terrorized me, really intensively, because they knew I was writing a...
He never came out with direct accusations. That's not his style. Instead, he used comedy, stories, subtle lines that people laughed at in the moment, but later realized had deeper meaning. He once suggested that Hollywood doesn't just operate on talent, it operates on control, on image, on who tells the story and who gets to rewrite it.
He calls himself John of God, but his real name is John for real, a man who claims miracles. But what happens here is much less divine intervention than downright exploitation.
And when you look at Oprah's role in media, you start to understand what he might have meant. Because Oprah isn't just a talk show host, she's a storyteller. She frames narratives. She gives people a platform or doesn't. And that kind of influence can shape how the world sees someone.
Did you feel anything at all after you had been in this man's presence?
No, nothing.
But here's the twist. What nobody expected was how often the narrative seemed to shift in her favor no matter the situation. When scandals happened around people in her orbit, Oprah often came out untouched, sometimes even stronger, speaking out, leading conversations, becoming the voice of reflection. To some, that's leadership. To others, it raises questions.
According to the South African Police Service Missing Persons Bureau, a child goes missing every 5 hours in South Africa. A non-profit group, Missing Children South Africa, says the country is losing the fight against the rising number of child kidnappings.
Dave saw something. That's clear. Whether you agree with him or not, you can't ignore the fact that he walked away from everything at his peak. People don't do that without a reason. And now, years later, with so many powerful figures being exposed, people are going back and asking, was Dave trying to warn us? Or was he just misunderstood? Because the truth is, Hollywood isn't as simple as it looks from the outside. It's a world built on relationships, power, influence, and sometimes silence. And when someone breaks that silence, even in small ways, it makes people uncomfortable. That's what happened to Dave.
Been excluded. I've been excluded on Oprah, you know.
On Oprah?
On Oprah, yeah. I've been
He
He spoke in a way that didn't follow the script. He refused to play along. And for a while, the industry responded the only way it knows how, by questioning him, by labeling him, by making people doubt him. And that has a real impact. It affects how people see you, how opportunities come your way, how your story gets told. For Dave, it meant stepping away, losing momentum, becoming a mystery instead of a star. For others, it meant something different.
Fight for them coming up behind me, then what am I doing? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, don't apologize. Don't apologize. I think it's an important message for people to hear because we see the lights, camera, action.
I'm just supposed to smile and grin and bear it and just keep like, enough is enough.
Monique has openly talked about feeling pushed out of the industry after standing her ground. 50 Cent has publicly criticized media narratives. Ludacris once said his voice was edited out in a way that changed how people saw him. Different situations, but the same underlying feeling, lack of control. And when you connect that to what Dave was saying, it starts to paint a bigger picture. Not a confirmed truth, not a proven conspiracy, but a perspective that makes you think. Because power in Hollywood doesn't always look like what people expect. It's not always loud. It's not always obvious. Sometimes it's subtle. It's who gets invited, who gets heard, who gets believed, and who doesn't. The emotional weight of all this is heavier than people realize. Imagine being at the top of your game and feeling like something isn't right behind the scenes. Imagine trying to explain that feeling and being told you're the problem, that you're paranoid, that you're imagining things. That's isolating. That's frustrating. And for Dave, it was enough to walk away from everything he built. For years, people didn't understand that decision. They saw it as a loss, a breakdown, a missed opportunity.
See that, Dave Chappelle? That's why we stay inside where it's safe and we never try it.
But now, it looks different. Now, it looks like someone who chose peace over pressure, truth over comfort, freedom over control. And whether you agree with his perspective or not, you can't deny one thing. He stood on it, even when it cost him everything. And that brings us to the bigger question. What is the real cost of speaking up in an industry built on silence? Because in a world where stories are carefully shaped and controlled, the truth doesn't always come wrapped in certainty. Sometimes it comes in fragments, in jokes, in moments people dismissed too quickly. And by the time people realize what those moments meant, the story has already moved on. But maybe, just maybe, now is the time people start paying attention. Because not everyone can walk away like Dave did. Not everyone has that option. Some stay, some adapt, some played the game, and some disappear. Oprah remains one of the most powerful and respected figures in media. That's a fact. Her influence is undeniable. Her success is historic. But like any powerful figure, she exists within a system that has been questioned more and more over the years. And as those questions grow louder, people are revisiting old moments, old interviews, old statements, trying to understand what they might have missed the first time. Dave Chappelle didn't give people answers. He gave them questions. And sometimes questions are more powerful than answers because they stay with you. They make you look deeper. They make you think. So now, years later, the laughter has faded. The clips are being replayed. The words are being re-examined. And the same question keeps coming back. What did Dave Chappelle really see? And more importantly, why did nobody listen? And maybe that's the part that hits the hardest. Because this story was never just about one interview, one moment, or even one person. It's about how power moves when nobody is paying attention. It's about how easily a narrative can be shaped, redirected, and controlled without most people even realizing it.
Dave Chappelle didn't come out screaming accusations. He didn't try to destroy anyone. Instead, he stepped back and let the world watch. He chose distance over distraction. And sometimes, silence speaks louder than anything else. But now, years later, things feel different. People are no longer just watching what's being said. They're paying attention to what's not being said. They're connecting moments that once seemed unrelated. They're questioning things they once accepted without hesitation. And whether you agree with Dave or not, one thing is clear. He made people think. He made people uncomfortable. And most importantly, he made people ask questions. Because at the end of the day, the truth doesn't always show up in a straight line. Sometimes it's messy. Sometimes it's hidden in plain sight. And sometimes it takes years before people are ready to even hear it. So maybe the real question isn't who was right or wrong. Maybe the real question is, why do certain voices get dismissed so quickly? Why do some stories get amplified while others quietly disappear? And who really decides that? That's something only you can answer. But if this video made you pause for even a second, if it made you look at things differently, then it's already done something powerful. Because awareness is where everything begins. And trust me, this conversation is far from over. So go ahead, drop your thoughts in the comments. I really want to know what you think about all of this. Do you believe Dave saw something deeper? Or do you think it's all just being taken out of context? Let's talk about it. And if you're into stories like this, real, raw, and unfiltered, make sure you hit that like button. It helps more than you think. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss what's coming next, because we're just getting started. There's a lot more to uncover. And the next story? It might change everything you thought you knew.